Welcome, Amanda here with Crafting with Amanda, and I'm so excited to kick off our April Makers with Heart video collaboration where we celebrate Wildberry, and it's just in time for the Wildberry blast that Close to My Heart has. So this is the bundle that you can get. It's like $38 and some change in the US, and it has the two papers there, and then these two with the kind of the quilt pattern with the dots on the back, and then the beautiful white flowers and leaves with the gingham. And then you can kind of see that this has that like UV resist on one side of it. So this is kind of like the tire tracks on it. I'm trying to kind of roll it through the camera so you can see. This one is gold in the flower pattern. This is silver stripes. And then these flowers with the leaves, it's kind of that iridescent. So it looks silver, but if you hold it in the right light, it looks gold with other colors in it. And then in the bundle, you get 6 pieces of the regular Wildberry cardstock. So I was showing you the two colors on, the light version of the true version of Wildberry. And then this sticker sheet, oh my gosh, this also has some of that resist on it, so much fun. And then there's these die cuts, and I went ahead and punched them all out, and I pulled mine in the stamp envelopes, but I just wanted to kind of show you that. This is the stamp set for the special, and I can see so many uses for that. And then here are the enamel dots and of course the sequins. So I will be playing with Wildberry and just having a bunch of fun with this. So I thought that I would do a kind of a cloud scene, and I'm gonna give you a sneak peek of one of the sentiments from the May stamp of the month, but don't tell anybody. So I went off camera and just with my die cut machine cut out a bunch of different cloud shapes just in strips on the Wildberry, and I made sure to have some of them with the true Wildberry color, so the darker shade, and some of them with the lighter version of Wildberry being face up. And I'm just gonna layer them on this card base, and I like to dry fit or audition things, make sure that I have the placement on before I glue it. And so that's what I'm doing here, and I'm just gonna adjust them so that you don't see any weight behind it. And I'm using the blocks to kind of hold them in place. And then what I do, you can see here, is I'll just pick up one layer and put glue on the layer underneath, and I just continue to do that until they're all kind of exactly where I want them. So moving ahead here, this is the beautiful sentiment from the May stamp of the month, and it says, "It's a beautiful day to go after your dreams." And that's why this cloud card just lent itself to this saying. And I'm taking my blender tool and just adding some of the Wildberry ink to the edges. And with the blender tool, it's a little bit different than the blender brushes. I use both. And I like the blender tool when I'm doing edges because I feel like it does it faster, but it gives it a nice feathery edge. So here I'm just grabbing some of the enamel dots and adding that to my circle with the sentiment, and I will pop dot that off. So I sped up the playback here because this is a failed part of the project, and I kept it in here so that maybe if you make a project that you're not loving and you have to tear it apart, we all do it. So I did some shimmer brush with the gold on the charcoal background, and then I just added 25 dots of glue that I'm going to add these tiny silver sequins out of the sequins pack. And I didn't let you see it, but the gold with the silver sequins on the charcoal background did not work for me. So now I grabbed a black piece of paper and I'm doing the shimmer brush dotting, and I kind of zoomed in because you couldn't see it unless you really were up close. So in real life, those show up really nice on the paper. They just sparkle. So again, just doing some dry fitting, gonna glue these on. I pop dotted that sentiment up, so I added some foam tape on the back of that. And then you could see where I cut off these cloud pieces from the back of that first card. So I will take off the foam pieces and adhere that. And now we're kind of jumping ahead, and I wanted to add some of the stars. And this little star is from the stamp set with the bundle. It's only available in the Wildberry Blast, and that's for the month of April. So I'm just going to add some of these stars in black on my card, and then on the inside and also on the envelope, I like to kind of coordinate things. So with first, second generation stamping, I'm just adding wild berry right there on the inside, and I'm going to have the coordinating envelope. So that's card 1. So now card 2, I'm taking this, it was an overhead projector sheet. My mom was a teacher and they used the overhead projectors when she was teaching. And so I have several sheets of it left. And so I'm using that as my shaker element for these bottles. So I'm showing you there's 2 different ways to cut these out. And I actually prefer the second method. But the first method was I cut the bottle out inside and outside and then just did the thin layer of glue and adhered it to the acetate. Now this time I'm only cutting out the inside of the bottle, adding the glue around that inside cutout, and then I'm going to glue it down to the acetate. And I do use the green lidded Tombow glue just because it dries sticky, so it will stay stuck to the acetate. And then when you cut around the bottle, to cut it off the acetate, you're only cutting the cardstock that you stamped the bottle and the acetate once, so it just saves you some fussy cutting. And my tip here for using the foam tape is you remove both sides. Like if you remove the paper that protects the second side of the stick for the foam tape, it bends so much nicer and you can wrap it around any image. It will make tight corners even. So now I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with this card base, and I love the In Full Bloom papers, even able to incorporate some of them into a heritage album project that I'm doing for my mom. So I thought that the vividness of the In Full Bloom would work well with the wild berry. So I'm just kind of giving you some options and some things to kind of think outside the box of color combinations. And here I just took an emery board to sand off some of the wild berry to allow that white core to show through. And then this stamp that I did the sentiment out of, Make Every Day Count. And then these are kind of the sparklers or strings of stars that are hanging down in the bottle. So I'm stamping those in the background, and I will put my shaker element bottles over top of that. But again, from the Wild Berry Blast stamp set, I am using this, spiral or mini starburst, I'll call it, just to give some interest in the background. I thought about using an embossing folder, and then I thought, no, the stamp set is so cool, just use it. So here I just sprinkled some of the sequins down on top of the stamped image, and then I'm just putting those bottles right over top. So now I have my 2 little shaker bottles on this card, adding my little strip of the In Full Bloom paper here, and I get it down crooked. But thankfully I realize it, and then I correct a little bit of it. So life is happening at 500 miles an hour over here, so I'm excited to be crafting and being able to bring some stuff back into a studio space and leave it here. So that's a good thing. And then, of course, I'm going to do a little bit of stamping on the inside of the card. So again, this is from that Wild Berry Blast Special campaign stamp. And this one as well. So I did black for the bigger one, and then Wild Berry for the center with a matching envelope. So there's card number 2. So now on card number 3, if you haven't heard, we had a farm in Michigan. About 700 acres of hay is what we would process. So we would wear bibs all the time. We also had some animals. And so what I am showing is how to make a bib card. And this would also work fantastic for a baby card. And it just, like a baby shower, it comes together quickly. So what you need to do is you make your card base with a top fold, so it's 4 1/4 wide by 11, and then you're going to cut from each of the sides 1 1/4 inch in, but then cut down 1 1/2 inch into the card from both edges of the card, and then you cut that center section out. And I have those dimensions here on the screen so you can see that. And then later on I will have the dimensions for all of the shoulder straps and the pocket, but the shoulder straps end up being 1 1/4 by 2 1/4 long, and then you round the corners, and the pocket is a 1 by 3 3/4 3/4, so just under 2-inch square. So there I am rounding the corners of the shoulder straps, and I will show you here later how to make the square look like a pocket. So this is this cute little Petite Perk stamp set that I have, and there are so many animal stamps that have been out lately that if you have one, just grab it. And I'm showing you that I stamped the pig in Wildberry, and then I smushed the pad, the lid, so that I could get a little bit of the Wildberry on the lid and use it as a paint palette. And all I'm doing is adding water to the Wildberry and thinning it out to get the right color for my pig and giving him some rosy cheeks. And then I don't put water back on my pad because I don't want it to dilute it. So as you saw, I soaked up the extra water that I'd used in the lid. So now to make my pockets, you trim off one corner and then flip it over so it's a mirror image and use it as a guide to cut off the other edge. And then I'm going to edge the pocket, actually all the papers, with ink. And I've sped up the video again. Some people like to see this, so I'm kind of trying to find the balance between showing it and speeding it up. And if you have that you like it one way or the other, let me know. As a YouTube creator, I want to make you guys happy. So if there's things that you like, let me know. If there's things that I can improve upon, let me know. If there's projects that you want to see, or you want me to, try my hand out. I am not afraid to make a mistake and show you that I've made a mistake. And sometimes I can show you how to recover from it. And other times I'll be honest and come in with this didn't go over so well. If you have any suggestions, I could use your help. So I just thought this was fun to use the sequins as kind of the fasteners for the shoulder straps, and then just also add an element. There's little flowers, as part of the sequence set. So then this was part of the stamp set, Stinkin' Cute. And I'm putting it on the pocket, and because the white polka dot has so much white, I needed to ink the edges just to have it stand off. I could have matted it on another little piece of cardstock as well, but I'm just trying to keep this simple. So again, I stamped my envelope to match my pig card, and you can see all the other cards that I did. I am day 1. You will have a video to watch for the next 7 days or the next 6 days, so be sure to go and give some love to my fellow friends and makers with heart, and I hope you have a blessed day. Thank you.